Good evening, everyone. Not too many weeks ago, our illustrious Vice President, Jeanette Wilmerfeld, gave a wonderful talk on the use of hand gestures. She showed us how to balance the spoken word with hand motions. And further, she showed us how to accent the cadence of our speeches with these motions. There was one thing that she told us, one fact that she gave, however, that I had a slight degree of issue with. And that was that it's natural for us to use hand motions as we speak. And perhaps that's true. But I think we might all agree that it is more natural for some of us than for others. So I want to give you 3 strikes against my use of hand motions in my life first, and perhaps you'll identify somewhat with them. So the first is heredity or genetic background. As many Americans, my background is a polyglot of nationalities. There are at least 7, perhaps more. But the predominant ones are Scot and English. Neither group is known for demonstrative displays of physical emotion. My late wife, who was Norwegian and adopted to this country, ended up on the Philadelphia Main Line. For those of you not familiar with the Philadelphia Main Line, think Boston Brahmin, perhaps. A very upper crust, blue blood bastion. To blend in on the main line, your nose should be in the air. And you should talk through a clenched mouth like this. Hand motions are not required. So, my wife referred to the descendants of Scots and English, the main body of the main line, as God's frozen people. So the second strike against me in my use of hand motions was to do with heredity and, I'm sorry, not heredity, but tradition and religion. I was raised as a Friend, or as more commonly known, a Quaker. Quakers, although known for their strong will, are also not in the group that demonstrates physically. One of my ancestors, who resided in Maryland several centuries ago, was read out of meeting. There is no preacher, there's no priest, there's no orator in a Quaker meeting. There are only the elders. So an elder would have taken an edict signed by all of the other elders, and in a meeting read him out of meeting, which is the equivalent of being excommunicated. What did he do? What was his heinous crime that he was read out of meeting? Well, if your ears are delicate, you may wish to cover them. For what he did was he sang. That's right, he raised his voice in song. And worse, he danced. He danced with Baptists. So he was no longer allowed in the Society of Friends. As a boy, going to Quaker meeting, it was an hour long. The first hour, half an hour, was quiet meditation. The second half an hour was also quiet meditation. But it was punctuated with members who spoke. If moved, they would rise from their wooden bench and speak in a measured tone, quietly, with their hands clasped in front of them. And they would speak about nature or troubles in the world and what we might do to help them. But hand motions, again, were not required. The third strike against me is my immediate family. In my family, there are many artists, but there are even more English majors. My mother was both. And although her paintings were vibrant and spoke to you in many ways, and she did sing, and she did dance, when it came to speaking to someone, to addressing them, if I spoke to her and had the temerity to make even a vestigial hand motion, she said, "Timothy, we do not speak with our hands. Use your vocabulary." So if you've identified with any of these reasons, to any small degree, may I give some humble advice. For the first one, we cannot change our genetics. We are who we are. But we can change who we hang out with. I know from personal experience that dating an Italian girl for 3 years loosened me up considerably. The second one is tradition or religion. Now, I would not dream of telling anyone to change their religion. But I believe most religious organizations, at least in the US, are a little looser than the meeting that my ancestor attended centuries ago. And I understand that some churches actually have books with songs in them right in the church. Look for a church that has a guitar. And the final one is immediate family. Take all of the love that your family offers and take it to heart. But when it comes to their edicts, read them, scrutinize them carefully to see how they will affect you. And if they're not right, then perhaps they should be discarded. Thank you.